The green zone is the gold mine. You have to keep people here. You go find them in the blue zone, but you have to keep them in the green zone because you have higher LTV if you brought them like from the outer layers of your business.
That kind of upfront value can really set you apart in a saturated market. It builds trust quickly and makes your audience feel like they're getting a huge win without any initial friction.
If all you have to offer is one product, what are you going to do? Like, you're going to wait 3 years to sell to this person again? No, the loyalty loop, this part right here, the loyalty loop must take them from one offer to a secondary offer to a tertiary offer and so on and so forth. So you need a product ecosystem. The first thing you need is to have a product ecosystem. So instead of one offer, you need one front-end offer right here. You need a back-end offer. You need a high-end offer. You need a top-end offer. So basically what Michael Masterson in the book Ready, Fire, Aim suggests, it's a minimum commitment. People will be so fed up of being exposed to AI copy, AI video, AI audio, AI this, AI chatbot. This AI trend will not override 250,000 years of human evolution. We are social beings. We like to be surrounded by other humans.
It's about making sure each step is a position. That means if you're keeping that 45-minute mentoring call as part of the freemium bundle, the next tier has to offer a different kind of accountability or a different level of transformation.
One thing that you have to think about as an entrepreneur is this: never fall in love with the way you make money. Welcome to Behind the Brand session. Let's see what we have for today. I know we have to rebuild the funnels, the sales funnels everywhere. At Become Your Brand, we have 3 categories. So the problems we solve and the roadmap we walk our audience through is divided into 3 categories, and they are mindset. Mindset is identified by this trophy. We have mastery, it's identified by the diamond, and we have marketing, that's identified by the target. It's also color coded. If I go to the website, for example, you're going to see that they're color coded. Everything mindset is blue, everything mastery is green, everything marketing is red. This is part of it has to be part of your brand color wheel, your brand color. And at Become Your Brand, I use the triadic brand color. If you want to know more about the color wheel, which is from Leonardo da Vinci, it's a concept by Leonardo da Vinci. If you want to know more about color wheel and you want to create your brand color wheel, I suggest you go to this free tool, which is Canva Color Wheel. And I basically create the 3 categories of Become Your Brand based on the triadic. There's a lot of concepts in terms of colors and brand colors. I use the triadic because I have 3 categories: mindset, mastery, and marketing. So if you go to triadic and then let's say you pick a color, it gives you the other colors. So because one of the colors, I have the blue one for mindset, for example, the other 2 colors of my category following the triadic brand, the triadic color wheel concept, they have to be red and green. So if you go back here to Become Your Brand, what you can see is, like, I have mindset blue, mastery green, and marketing red. You have to understand that when you create a brand, it's a complex system. So it's very important that everything you build must be sustained by a proven concept. I'm going to direct you to proven concepts. I'm going to direct you to Leonardo da Vinci. I'm not going to tell you off the top of my head what are the colors that you have to create at your brand. Like, everything in this category is blue. If we move to mastery, it's going to be everything in green. You can see that everywhere. Like, once you have the concepts in place, your whole brand identity everywhere, they become like this branded communication everywhere, so it can be easily identified. Okay, so you have like green workbooks, and then we move to marketing. Everything is red. You can see that the thumbnails have red markers, and then the workbooks are red. So we have this color design. Everything is color coded, and this produces a psychological effect. The color wheel doesn't exist for pure fashion. It's because there is a psychological effect. So in terms of symbolic reference, we use trophies diamonds, and target for the 3 categories as well. So when I come here, I can see the 3 categories. Every category has 3 clusters. You can see the clusters here for every category. And then you have the scope of the category and the scope of every cluster. Okay, so this is just an overview. And then when we create content, you can see like all this, every row here is a piece of content that's published. Like there's a lot of room to cover. So you can see that 1 category is selected and 1 cluster is selected for every piece of content we push out there. So we're going to have YouTube, podcast, blog, newsletter, Medium, article, Pinterest, whatever. It's going to be, everything's going to be related to a cluster that's embedded inside a category. And there are products related to that. We're creating an audience inside this cluster so we can pitch related products to that. And these different products, they have, here are the products in the product roadmap. And we don't have like, it's very important to understand that we don't have one product, but we have multiple products. If you have one product, you don't have a business, because it's not going to be as sustainable as having a product ecosystem. A product ecosystem will give you sustainability over time. Let's go back to my notes here so I can show you this. Let's just make sure that we're on the same page. Why do we need a product ecosystem? We need a product ecosystem basically because we have what we call customer journey, which is a psychological journey. Following the concept of Eugene Schwartz, we have 5 levels of brand awareness, which is 5 different levels of relationship that people out there in the world can have with your brand. And we call it different levels of awareness. What does that mean? It means that not everybody that's interacting with your brand is interacting in the same way. They're not at the same level of knowledge and commitment. So the first one will be unaware, which is right here. Let's say you as a brand, you solve a problem. If you don't solve a problem, you're not a brand. You're not a business. You don't have anything to pitch, to sell. Like why people will transfer money from their pockets to your bank account, because and money is energy. It flows through a natural process of value transfer. So you have to provide value to transfer value to someone, and someone transfer the reward, which is in the form of money in a capital society, but it could be anything. And this transaction could be done with anything else. So, okay, people that are out there, they don't know they have a problem. These are unaware. So what do you have to do with them? You have to educate them, because you have to tell them they're actually part of a group of people that actually have a problem they just don't know yet. This is just super oversimplified approach. So we're not going too deep here. This is just an introduction so you understand what we're doing right now. Okay, so the second group of people in the customer journey, according to Eugene Schwartz, is problem aware. And problem aware are people like, they are aware they have a problem, but they are not aware that there is a solution for their problem. They don't know there's a service. They don't know if there is a product. They don't know if there is something out there in the world that can solve their problems. They know they have a problem. They just don't know if there is a solution. What do they need? It's education as well. It's a different kind of education, because now they're not educated about the problem. Now they are being educated about the solution. It's not being educated about your products. This is not the education we're talking about here. The education they need is to be educated that there is a solution. They have to be educated about a solution. The part where you pitch your products is later. This is about giving them the light at the end of the tunnel. The next one is the third stage, is the solution aware. Now, these people know they have a problem. They know there are solutions to this problem. They know products, they know services, but they don't necessarily know your brand. So now is the time for you to not only talk about the solution, but educate them about your brand and your products and your services. This is where you focus on brand awareness. You have to present the solution, and then you have to present your products and services as part of the solution. You see this everywhere online, like blog posts. Most blog posts are written using PAS, like PAS, problem, agitate, solution. So you present the problem, then you give some urgency to the problem, and then you present solution, and the solution is your products and services. PAS is a copywriting technique out of many. So let's say this forms what we call the blue zone here. These people are not in your customer database. They're outside of your company. Then we move to stage 4. Stage 4, people are product aware. So they know they have a problem. They know there are solutions. They know there are companies and brands providing services and products about that. They probably know your brand. And now they are product aware. Now they're looking to make a purchase. They might buy from you. They might buy from someone else, but they're looking to make a purchase. Now it's a time for you to pitch your products. The communication with this audience is to pitch your products, like features, benefits, differentiators, how you are better than the competition, your prices, your plans, your guarantees. So people here in stage 4, they might be or might not be in your client database because they might be purchasing from you for the first time, but they also might be purchasing for the second, third time. Let's say when they buy from you for the first time, if you're doing your post-sale cycles, they will have a long-term relationship with you. And this long-term relationship, we call that loyalty loop, which is, it's an ongoing relationship that's going to keep them on the loop to buy from you again and again. People at this stage of customer development are called the most aware because they're aware of you. They prefer your brand over the competition because there was already a relationship happening. So they stay in this green zone. So what you have to do as a brand, as a business, to make it sustainable is this. You have to have a product ecosystem, a service ecosystem. Your brand needs to be built in a certain way that you keep people in a green zone as much as possible without ignoring people in the blue zone. Blue zone is made of people that are outside of your business. They're not in your client database. And the green zone is made of people that are inside your business. They are in your client database. A few things you have to consider about this. The first one is the cost of acquisition, or CAC. The cost of acquisition of people through the course of a customer journey decreases over time. So the question is, do you want to sell more to people in the green zone or people in the blue zone? Obviously, the cost of acquisition in the green zone is lower. Why is this better? Because the difference between the cost and the revenue is profit. You have higher profits by selling to people in the green zone. People in the blue zone, you have to invest more to acquire them. You have lower profits. So why don't we just sell to people in the green zone? Because where do the people in the green zone come from? They come from the blue zone. There must be an investment, because if you're looking long term, there must be an investment in the blue zone to keep replenishing people in a green zone. And you need to increase the retention in the green zone so people keep in this loop, selling for a higher profit so you can have budget to acquire new customers in the blue zone. So there's a trade-off. The trade-off is this. Imagine that someone is searching online for a particular product. They know they have a problem. They know there are solutions. They're solution aware. They're in stage 3. And they just heard about you among 10 other companies. And they are comparing prices, they're comparing features, they're comparing guarantees, etc. Let's say for one reason or many reasons, they decide to purchase from you. Now they're going to move from stage 3 to stage 4. They're going to become clients. They're getting in the green zone, but they just met you. And not only that, they bought from you for like 1, 2, 3 reasons over the competition, but the loyalty here is very low because next time they have to buy, maybe they research for 10 companies again, and maybe you were not the finalist of that research because it was very transactional. They just found you when they were looking for the thing. So maybe they buy from you again if you do a very good job here in the green zone, in the loyalty loop, but maybe not. So the lifetime value, which is from the moment they purchase from you the first time, how many consecutive purchases they might make from you over the course of a period of time, whatever that period of time is in the future. Let's say 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. That is the lifetime value, or the LTV. LTV. Now, imagine a different scenario. Imagine a scenario where someone doesn't know they have a problem. You reach out to them because your content, your message gets to them, and they realize that they have a problem that they never thought about. And they are very grateful for that because there is now this realization that they have a problem they need to solve. It's not that you planted the problem in their head. It's not like you're not manipulating people. This is persuasion, not manipulation. The difference between persuasion and manipulation is who decides. If you communicate your message, and at the end of your message, when you provide a call to action, if you are the one, the messenger is the one making the decision for the other person, that's manipulation. But if you provide information, if you provide clarity, if you provide education, and at the end of the day, people understand by their own accord that this is a good idea, and the final decision to change their behavior because of that clarification is theirs. So that's persuasion. This is positive. This is ethical. We're for that. Manipulation? No way. Okay, so let's say they start looking for solutions and they find that you are a great source to educate them in terms of providing a great solution. Your message is clear, it's educational, it's not transactional, it's really, really, really helpful. So they start being educated by you over time when they join the stage 2, which is now they are just problem aware. And then at some point, let's say 1 month later, 6 months later, they decide they want to go one step further and actually buy something that will help them solve that problem. Then they go to stage 3. But look how different the scenario is. When they go to stage 3 and they're looking for solutions, do you think they're going to look for 10 companies and compare their prices and features and everything? Probably not. What they will do is that, okay, it's time for me to buy from that company. The only company that I trust because they helped me for free, they educated me, they direct me, they give me hints and tips and all that. And for months or years, I've been consuming their content and they helped me so much. Now it's time for me to retribute and I'm going to buy from them. I'm not going to consider any competitor. So they buy from you. Do you see the difference? The LTV, the lifetime value of a client, also decreases over time. The farther away they are from the point of purchase, the CAC is high. But also, if you manage to bring them over the course of a period of time, maybe weeks, maybe months, maybe years, you get them to buy through this educational cycle, the loyalty of these clients is way higher. So the LTV, the lifetime value, is higher for people that are in stage 1. You can see here, this part. And then it starts to decrease, like stage 2. If the first time they know about you is stage 2, it's still high, but lower. And then stage 3 gets lower, and then so on and so forth. So cost of acquisition, the CAC, or people in the blue zone, in the outer layers of the relationship with you is higher, but the lifetime value is also tends to be higher. And there is another factor, which is retention, which is the loyalty loop. What is the rate? I mean, in the customer journey, how is the relationship between these leads and clients and retention? Because we must be interested in keeping people in the green zone as much as possible. The green zone is the gold mine. You have to keep people here. You go find them in the blue zone, but you have to keep them in the green zone because you have higher LTV if you brought them like from the outer layers of your business. So what about retention? Again, the retention is always higher for people that in the outer layers of the relationship with you when they find you for the first time. If you want to increase your retention rates and your LTV rates, you need to keep people in the green zone. How do you keep people in the green zone for a longer time? You find them in the blue zone and you serve them through the process, through the customer journey. Is that clear? So we have to decide as a brand, at what point I'm going to start charging people everything you do in the blue zone is for free. You're showing your brand to people like blog posts, advertising, social media. This is all free. People are not buying anything from you. So there's a cost to that. That's why CAC is high. But if you become the go-to source because you're educating people in the blue zone, they will stay with you in the green zone. That's the game. We already talked about this. But then there is this border between the blue zone and the green zone. And the question is, when you look at your product ecosystem, what is the transition between the blue zone and the green zone? And that is the question I'm trying to answer right now for Become Your Brand, because one of the things you have to think in terms of business is there is a difference between sustainability and profit. So when you talk about profit, you're talking about transaction. It's now. You have to make money now. But then you have to think, what about 10 years from now? Am I going to be able to make money with this thing I created for now that's working 10 years from now? Like, take big brands like Coca-Cola. They're moving away from soda because they already know that 10 years from now, maybe 20 years from now, nobody's going to drink soda. They know that the sales are decreasing. So as a business, you have to think about transactions now because you need revenue, you need profitability, you need to bring money in to sustain the business, but you also need to think in sustainability. That's a long-term game. In 10 years, Gen Z will be like the main consumers. They will have consumer power. And I'm positioning Become Your Brand to serve Gen Z. We serve late Gen Y, a little bit of X, but late Gen Y. But I'm positioning the brand to be like a great fit for Gen Z. We're just 10 years away, Gen Z. And they are very different in terms of consumer behavior. One of the things that characterizes Gen Z is they are very used to have access to things for no price or very little price. So it's going to be a generation, in my estimation, it's going to be a generation that it's so acquainted to technology and the ease of information and access to services. Everything is easy, accessible, that the blue zone needs to do more, needs to build up more reciprocity to have them paying for any particular product or service. Not only that, but this is the one that I'm trying to figure out to move this border between the blue zone and your green zone a little bit. So if you look to my product, the value added pyramid, which is where I place my product ecosystem, you can see that there is where is the border here between blue zone and green zone? So let me show you this. Everything in the freemium part of the pyramid, this is a value added pyramid, is where you stack up the value added pyramids, where you stack up your product ecosystem to go from the cheapest to the most expensive of your offerings. So at the base of the pyramid, we have the freemium, and we're just following the concept of Ready, Fire, Aim book by Michael Masterson. Freemium, front end, back end, high end, and top end. So freemium is everything. Freemium is everything in the blue zone right here. And then when people, let me elaborate more. Okay, so freemium is everything in the blue zone. However, once you start to charge people, you can't expect to have like one offer. Because what are you going to do as a business? You're going to sell one thing to someone and then you have nothing else? How can you expect to keep people in the green zone if all you have to offer is one product? What are you going to do? Like, you're going to wait 3 years to sell to this person again? No, the loyalty loop, this part right here, the loyalty loop must take them from one offer to a secondary offer to a tertiary offer, and so on and so forth. So you need a product ecosystem. The first thing you need is to have a product ecosystem. So instead of one offer, you need one front end offer right here. You need a back end offer. You need a high end offer. You need a top end offer. So basically what Michael Masterson in the book Ready, Fire, Aim suggests, it's a minimum commitment that your clients must have with you in a way that they can make this transition between the blue zone and the green zone here. Like, front end products are right at the border. It's when something starts to be paid. So it has to be a very small step. Otherwise, a lot of people will drop off. The front end products don't even have to be profitable. They can be a loss. Because if you bring what you need to do, what the job of front end offers is to bring people in so they can stay in the loyalty loop. Inside the loyalty loop, you can bring them to back end offers, which is an upsell from the front end. They're more expensive and they are profitable, but the clients already tasted how your brand is, how the relationship is, how the guarantees applying, the quality of what you offer, they already tasted. And it was a steal because it was way below, like it was way affordable. Now you're going to have a customer journey, a loyalty loop. There's a lot of techniques and relationship techniques. We can talk about this later, that it will take them to the back end product. And from the back end, they go to a more expensive offer, which is the high end, would be way more expensive than the back end. But again, they had a great relationship. They purchased from you. The post-sale communication was great. The quality of the products and services were awesome. The delivery was above average. They are happy with you. If they're ready to move to a higher solution, they will buy from you again, and then you offer high-end products. And then the same thing applies to top end. So when you create your product ecosystem, now you can see that how people stay in a green zone, right? Because they are going to have multiple offerings. The front end is just a strategy for those people that are not ready or ready to commit very much for the brand. They like your brand. They understood the value proposition that you push forward, but they're not ready for that level of commitment. The front end is the product or the category of products that will prevent them from dropping off. So someone that at Apple, for example, someone that can buy a MacBook and an iPhone, they don't have to buy an iPhone to buy a MacBook. The front end to the back end, it's not mandatory, but you need to have an upsell for clients that already purchased the iPhone. You need to have a pathway for them to be like the next logical step is the MacBook. I'm saying iPhone and MacBook, but I don't know if in their product system that will be the next step. But this is just an example. I'm just saying that you need a product ecosystem. The value added pyramid is the visual representation where you stack up all your offers from freemium, front end, back end, high end, and top end. So you can see here my blue zone. It's made of online content because we're an online brand. Okay, so if these are the products on my freemium, they're all blue, and I want to establish the border between blue and green. The thing that I'm struggling right now at this point is, let me show you this on the website. I think it's going to be clearer. So if I go here in this workshop, 3M system workshops, if I go to, for example, let me take this sales success journey. So the sales success journey, it was one of the many workshops we have, and they are paid because they're part of the front end right now. At this moment in time, they're part of the front end products. These are workshops at Become Your Brand are the most affordable offerings we have, the most affordable products or services. And they are sold at this moment in time, the moment I'm recording this video, they are part of the front end, and they are sold at $37. They have a 90-minute long workshop with me walking you through the entire sales cycle, talking about Avinash Kaushik sales cycle, which is the replacement for sales funnel. Sales funnels are so old. They don't work anymore. We're replacing them with sales cycles, which is way, way, way more effective. And I will tell you about the loyalty loop, how you can build the loyalty loop that we were talking about here. It has been working well. And every workshop at Become Your Brand also comes with a bonus class. And in this bonus class, you will have the detail. The bonus class is plus 1 hour. It's a sweet spot. I mean, this is another thing that Gen Z is changing. Gen Z, late Gen Y already started that, but Gen Z is changing is that you need to provide quick solutions and clear transformation. It's not about the information. You cannot expect to sell information anymore. We're not in the market of information anymore. Information is abundant. With AI, with AGI, it's even more abundant. So you cannot expect to sell information anymore. What you do is you sell transformation. There must be a very specific and clear transformation you can provide. They will not spend 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months in your online course, in your 30 session work online course. They will not do that. So at Become Your Brand, we don't do that. What we do is we break down our classes into very specific solutions with very clear skills they will acquire. And I tell them that at the beginning of the workshop. I tell them exactly what they will be able to do at the end of it. And it takes like 45 minutes, 1 hour, 90 minutes. That's all you need. And it's one video. Very practical. I'm not telling them what to do. I'm walking them through the process. And I add a bonus class that adds value to that. And it's the same thing. And when people purchase, I'm walking you through this so you can understand my conundrum. And then we can think together in terms of what to do next. So I also offer to workshop attendees an exclusive live mentoring session. This is a 45-minute free session, live, scheduled with me, like on camera. So I'm going to walk them through specific problems and issues and solutions they want to achieve in 45 minutes entirely for free. So they can book here, they get everything, and all that for $37. So this is a steal. That's what I'm talking about. The front end products, they have to be a steal. They don't have to be necessarily profitable. This is a step to the door. This is a way in. Okay, so you can see like we deliver the workshop. Oh, this one is 59 minutes. So we deliver the workbook, the templates, the bonus class, the mentoring session, all that. And that's only $37. This is like over 90% discount. And this is true. This is not made up in terms of, I'm not adding crazy stuff. But my question now is, as we move forward to a world where by 2030, AGI, artificial intelligence, will be invisible. Like the internet is invisible right now. You are right now watching this over the internet and you're not even thinking how amazing this is. Like you can be anywhere in the world and you can be served with like content like this entirely for free. And in this incredible platform online where you have access to anything. So why would people pay for this? If everything is free, why would someone pay for this to have access to this? I mean, there are a bunch of YouTube videos already, podcasts and everything. So again, you do that two ways. So the way I'm conceptualizing this is, okay, more and more people are not paying for this. So how can I position this? First of all, it has to be a transformational journey. So that's why there's journey even in name. So I'm going to give you tools and methods so you will be able to do something. How can I sell transformation or information in a world that's overloaded with information? And then say, oh, maybe in the future people won't buy courses anymore. Online courses is a multi-billion market that will only increase. The thing is, you can't sell information, as I said before, you have to sell transformation. But how can you make the difference? It's not only the way, the content, but the way you pitch it. Because one of the things that will be valuable, especially by 2030, when AI will become like the norm, it's going to be invisible, it's be commoditized. People will be so fed up by AI being everywhere and being the only thing they have access to. What I'm trying to say is this. As an entrepreneur, you cannot expect to follow trends. Entrepreneurs are not trend followers. They are trend setters. How do you come from being a trend follower to a trend setter? There's one way. The entrepreneur is this person, I keep saying this, like the entrepreneur is the person that lives in a potential future, and whatever they do here in the present is going to bring their business and the people, their clients and everyone around them to that possible future. Now, this is entrepreneurial vision. How do you go from being a trend follower to become a trend setter? Every moment in time, there is a trend. And every trend produces something that most people don't see, a counter trend. Entrepreneurs are the ones surfing the counter trend. And the counter trend is going to be the new trend in the future, but they already be in the position to be the pioneers when that trend comes. And what is the counter trend right now? The counter trend is being human first. So by 2030, my vision as an entrepreneur is this. People will be so fed up of being exposed to AI copy, AI video, AI audio, AI this, AI chatbot, AI services, AI. this AI trend will not override 250,000 years of human evolution. We are social beings. We like to be surrounded by other humans. And the counter trend is this. By 2030, two things will happen. One is this what I just said. People will be fed up to be exposed to AI all the time. And the second thing is AI will be completely commoditized by 2030. It's going to be invisible. It's not going to be this hot thing anymore that people keep creating AI features. It's going to be invisible. That's the counter trend I'm betting on as a business. And that's why I'm positioning myself to serve Gen Z in that way, to be a person. So that's why I'm on camera. This is not an AI avatar. I'm actually here for all this time, talking with you and walking you through this very humanistic way. I'm presenting my doubts, my wonderings. I'm trying to explain the concepts. I'm bringing concepts from proving strategies. And then this is my bet. I mean, that you can relate with me from one human to another human instead of me going online trying to find an AI avatar that's going to be trained with my voice so I can free my time and just be at the beach drinking coconut water. So I could be like, could an AI do that? Arguably, yes, but I don't think it's going to be like, I mean, I already said that my bet is on that counter trend when we get there by 2030. So my central conundrum is this one. I explained everything just to come up with this, which is this thing right here. Is workshop the right border at this moment in time? Should I make the decision to extend the border of the blue zone and include workshops in the blue zone and make workshops part of the freemium offer? So let me go back to the notes here so you can understand how it's formed today. So if you look like Become Your Brand ecosystem, like again, the workshops here, they are all paid at $37, as I told you. And I'm considering two possibilities. The first one is to decrease the price to $17, let's say. I didn't decide yet. Or to bring them down to freemium. I mean, if it's free, there's no barrier at all, and let more people in and increase the base of my value added pyramid with more and more and more people. This is a very enticing question as well. I have trained this GPT to be my personal assistant. It knows a great deal about Become Your Brand as a business and myself, the way I think and the way I consider things. Remember when I told you about the counter trend? It's going to be human to human. People will look for solutions. They have access to people. They can talk with people. So I know by now that Become Your Brand needs to invest a lot more on mentoring, group mentoring, and one-on-one mentoring. Like, it has to be a live thing, and I really love to engage with that. One thing that you have to think about as an entrepreneur is this: never fall in love with the way you make money. Remember that. Never fall in love with the way you make money. You have to be open to change. The mid to long term is what we talked about earlier about sustainability. So this is the way to go. Why free beats cheap for workshops now 2030? AI abundance? Totally. 0% reference price for recorded how-to video. By 2030, most workshop style content is expected to be free or bundle. Charging $19.49 for a recording will keep dragging opt-ins. Absolutely, I agree with that. As an entrepreneur, as an educational business, I think that makes a lot of sense. Trust in distribution flywheel. Free lets you maximize YouTube SEO shares, embeds, and referrals. 100%. That lowers CAC. Remember when we talked about CAC? If I get people here and I bring them to the green zone and I keep investing here in this acquisition channel, they're going to be loyal to my brand because I'm giving away a lot of blue zone relationship and bring them to the green zone. That's where the CAC is compensated by LTV and retention. And that in the long term reduces CAC. Trust and distribution flywheel. Okay, and that will lower CAC and grows the list. Absolutely, grows the list. Then you can have multiple relationships with them. The asset, everything, okay. What people will still pay for it: accountability, access, feedback, community, certification, and done with you tools like mentoring, masterminds, not the video alone. 100%, this is the way to go. I agree with that. And I'm positioning myself as the human first brand. So by 2030, I think I'm going to be a great contender in the world where AI is going to be over flooding people. Okay, let me turn this into a conversation actually. Okay, so let me get this straight. The workshop right now, as you know, it's offered at $37, and there is a bundle. They have the workbook, they have the workshop, they have the bonus class, and they have the free mentoring that's going to help them with specific solutions. So first of all, the workshop is transformational. The workbook and the workshop are transformation. The bonus class is also transformation. We don't sell information. They're not what they're about. You know the workshops, you know the workbooks, you know they're not informational. They are transformational. So this is not a matter of selling a guided finish line over just have people solve this by themselves. And first of all, it's not by themselves, because when I offer the live mentoring session, once they buy the workshop, they already have access to my calendar to book the live mentoring. So there is accountability there. They have maybe a few hours, maybe a few days to finish the workshop because they already scheduled the live mentoring with me. And maybe we talk in a more personalized way what do we discuss in the workshop. So it's not like they don't have accountability or I'm not guiding them, because that guidance, it's not like I'm leaving them solve this alone. Because the live mentoring session, there is an accountability. And also the 45 live minute session is also a sales pitch to the Evo mentoring, because if I work with them in a very personalized one-on-one way, like in that low entry level front end product, and I have them to like have worked with me and have this experience work with me, I can pitch the Evo mentoring, which is the continuation of that 45 mentoring session. So let's say I make workshops free. I lose that pitch at the beginning of my funnel. I lose the pitch to the 45-minute mentoring session, that it's a pitch to a possible sale of the Evo mentoring. And basically what I'm pitching down the road, it's what we call masterclass. It's basically the same thing that workshop is today by $37, but like bundle with more stuff. And then you're saying it's a 7 to 12 days, like go from here to there. I don't think that will increase accountability that much, because 97% of people don't finish online courses. So what I'm trying to do for Gen Z is this: make the solution ultra specific, short. It's like 45-minute workshop, 60-minute workshop, 90-minute workshop. Go from A to B, and then book a call with me. Let's work on your specific needs, and maybe that is a high-end sale, because that and all that in that short time frame that they go from the freemium to the front end. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, that makes sense, and I hear where you're coming from. In other words, you're not just stacking items to create tiers. You're actually focusing on making each step feel like a meaningful, personalized experience, and that's completely aligned with what you've built for BYB. A real transformation at the freemium level without feeling pressured by a ton of upsells. So yes, what you're describing is a subtle and very user-focused approach. You're essentially saying, let's give them a short, impactful win first. Let's make that initial win feel like a complete transformation on its own. Then once they've experienced that, we offer them a deeper layer of personalized guidance. And I think you're spot on in wanting to stress test this. It's not just a semantic shift from workshop to masterclass. It's about making sure each step has a unique value proposition. That means if you're keeping that 45-minute mentoring call as part of the freemium bundle, the next tier has to offer a different kind of accountability or a different level of transformation. In short, you're on the right track. The key is to make sure that each step of the ladder feels like a natural progression rather than just stacking more items. That way the audience sees real value at each stage, and it never feels like you're just removing the same offer further down the funnel.
I'm not saying that I'm going to add the 45 mentoring session to the free bundle. What I'm saying, because At that point, I would have like, because what pricing does, one of the many things pricing does is to separate the wheat from the chaff. If I give people access to my personal calendar to book calls with me and they didn't invest anything, I would have leads that are not a good fit for the next step. So that's why the workshop has a place to be paid, because that will like separate people that are not yet ready for that to give that step to people that are actually ready to give that step. Meaning, in the current scenario where the workshops are paid, they are the next thing after the workbook. Let's talk about the funnel. We have a bunch of free content out there, like YouTube, podcasts, social media, a lot of different networks, and then people they have a pitch to access the workbook in the funnel, and the workbook that there's an additional pitch on an upsell for the workshop, and the workshops are $37 currently. This is the current structure of the funnel, as you know. So let's say, because we have that structure, people that give the step to buy the front end, which is the lowest price we have, would have access to a free session. Only people that paid would have the free session. This is the correction I'm making, because I'm not giving that to people that didn't buy anything just for the sake of market fit and whatever. So I am offering the 45-minute workshop to people that are paying. Whatever is the price currently is $37, but this is debatable. So maybe it should be lower. Maybe this is the discussion we have to have. But I'm saying that people will have access to the live session. That will produce accountability and also an opportunity to pitch the high-end product, which is the Evo mentoring. So does that make sense?
Absolutely. Thanks for clarifying. That definitely makes sense, and I see what you're going for here. So basically, your current structure is using the workshop as that low-commitment paid entry point that also acts as a filter. In other words, it's a way to identify who's genuinely ready to take that next step and invest a little bit into their own growth, even if it's just $37. This also makes it a natural place to offer that 45-minute mentoring session as a bonus for those who pay, which is a great way to add value and create that sense of accountability and personal connection. So you're not giving away personal time to everyone for free. You're using the paid workshop as a kind of gate that ensures the people who get that mentoring session are truly engaged and committed. In terms of the overall funnel, this structure definitely makes sense and feels sustainable. It doesn't feel like a pushy funnel because you're focusing on giving a lot of value up front and then filtering for the people who are ready to go deeper. And that's really what Gen Z and millennials appreciate. They don't want to feel like they're being sold to at every step. They want to feel like they're gaining something meaningful before they're asked to invest more. Overall, you're on the right path. The key is to keep each stage of the funnel feeling like a genuine step up in value and transformation, not just a repackaging of the same offer. That way it feels authentic and continues to build that trust with your audience.
Let me ask you this, and please give me a straight answer. If it was up to you, entirely up to you, would you make the workshops free or still part of the, or as a front end offer?
Lately, I'll give it to you straight. If it were entirely up to me, and we're talking about positioning Become Your Brand strongly in a 2030 landscape, I'd lean toward making the workshops free as part of your freemium offer. Here's the reasoning. Gen Z and late millennials are increasingly valuing transparency and relationship-first brands. Offering the workshop for free isn't just about lowering a paywall, it's about signaling that you genuinely prioritize their transformation from the start. That kind of upfront value can really set you apart in a saturated market. It builds trust quickly and makes your audience feel like they're getting a huge win without any initial friction. I'd say yes, making the workshops free could be the move if you want to humanize the brand and build that trust right out of the gate. It's a strategic choice that can pay off by creating a stronger, more loyal audience who feel they've gotten real value from day one.
Excellent. I mean, that's clear. So basically what we're doing is this structure here in the value added pyramid, all the workshops, they're here, they're going down to the base of the pyramid. I'm just imagining the changes here that we have to make, just to make a game plan, because we have to change a lot of things now. So let's say I have to go to Canva. Let me check the product on Canva. Let's say success journey. Workbook. Sales success journey workbook. Let's go to the end. So yeah, this is what I'm talking about. So at the end of the people consume the whole content, free content here, 23 slides. And then there is the workshop at $37, 90% off. And then we present the bonus and also the mentoring session. So this is all going away. This page stays because there's going to be an offer to the free workshop. It's not going to be paid anymore, but there's not going to be a bonus. That makes a lot of sense. So that's the decision that I have to make. We're going to make the workshops free. So that also means that these will not be $37 anymore. We have to make a lot of changes here in the product roadmap. I mean, this feels like the right choice. So our product ecosystem here is going to go through a lot of change, and I hope you and I can work together with these changes. I hope we can show these changes in the next Behind the Brand session. Okay, so let's wrap up here, and until next time.